This is the November 2013 higher tier paper, paper 1. First question. This is a list of ingredients for making chicken soup for 4 people. Bill is going to make chicken soup for 6 people. Work out the amount of ingredients he needs. Okay, so normally you would find out how much the ingredients would be for one person and then multiply it by the number of people. But a quicker way of doing it is finding the scale factor of this, the recipe to the number of people. So to get from 4 to 6, we would need to multiply both or all the ingredients by 1.5, and that's what I'm going to do. So for butter, it's going to be 60 times 1.5, and that's 90. 300 times 1.5 is 450. 150 times 1.5 is 225. 1 times 1.5 is 1.5 onions, and then finally 640 times 1.5 is 960. Question 2. A publisher checks documents for errors. He records the number of documents that are checked each day. He also records the total number of errors in the documents each day. The scatter graph shows this information. On another day, 90 documents are checked. There is a total of 17 errors. Show this information on the scatter graph. Okay, so we need to go from the number of documents. There are 90 and there are 17 errors. Now we need to look at the scale here. There are 10 blocks in between 5 to 20. That means each 2 blocks is 1. So the 4th block up after 15 is going to be 17. So it's going to be that point there. Okay, and then part B, describe the correlation between the number of documents checked and the total number of errors. Well, we can see that there's a general direction in the positive direction going up from left to right, so it's got positive correlation. And finally, we're asked to estimate the total number of errors in the documents when there are 110 documents that are checked. What we need to do is to draw a line of best fit into this scatter graph. So with a ruler, we need to draw a line that would fit between all the points. Try and have an even number of crosses on either side of the line, and then we go up from 110 up to the line and then read across, and I got 19. You could have had any answer between 16 and 20 depending on how your line of best fit was, but you need to make sure you have a line of best fit and lines showing that you've gone up from 110 and across. Question 3. Here is a triangular prism. Work out the volume of this triangular prism. Well, for any prism, we need to find the area of the cross section, which is the area of this face here, the face where it will be the same all the way through the shape. So if you cut that shape anywhere, you'd get the same 4x3 triangle. Now the area of a 4x3 triangle is going to be the base times the height and then divided by 2. So it's going to be 12 divided by 2, which is 6, and then we're going to multiply that by the length. So it's 6 times 20, which is 120 centimeters cubed. Do not forget your units. Question 4. 4a is simplify 4y plus 2x minus 3 plus 3x plus 8. This is a case of collecting all the like terms. So we've got a y term there, we've got a plus x and another plus x there. We've got minus 3 and a plus 8. So if we collect all those like terms, we've got 4y, there's only one y term there. We've got 2x plus 3x, which is 5x, and then we've got minus 3 plus 8, which is going to be plus 5. Part B asks us to factorise 9x squared minus 6xy. Well, if we're factorising, we're going to have a pair of brackets. We need to find the highest common factor of each term. They both have a number, so the highest common factor of those two numbers is 3. And they also have x terms, there's only one x in this one, so we can only take out one of the x's. So it's 3x on the outside, and inside we have what's left. So 3x for the first one, minus 2y. Part C asks us to expand 4, and then in brackets x plus 2. So we just multiply both terms inside the bracket by the number outside. So we'll get 4x plus 8. Remember to multiply both terms in the brackets. And finally, we're asked to expand and simplify x minus 5, x plus 3. We need to multiply all the terms together. So we're going to have x squared plus 3x minus 5x minus 15. If we collect all of the like terms, these two are like terms, we're going to have x squared minus 2x not plus, minus 15. Question 5. Jane has a packet of seeds. The probability that seed will grow is 0.75. What's the probability that the seed will not grow? Well, the total probability of it either growing or not growing is 1, so we take away 0.75 from 1 and we'll get 0.25. Part B. Jane plants 200 of the seeds. Estimate the number of seeds that will grow. Well, there's a 0.75 chance of a seed growing, and there are 200 seeds. So we need to multiply those two together. 3/4 or 0.75 of 200 is 150 seeds. Question 6a asks us to translate shape A by the vector minus 3, 2. Well, this is telling us where to go in the x direction, and we have to go 3 left. And then this is telling us to go in the y direction, and that's 2, and because it's positive, we have to go up. So I'm going to go 3 left and 2 up from each point. So 3 left, 2 up, 3 left, 2 up, 3 left and 2 up. So those are my points. Going to join them up with a ruler, and that's my new shape. They should all be on the lines here. I haven't drawn that very well. Like that. Part B asks us to describe fully the single transformation that maps shape Q onto shape R. Well, we can see that it's been rotated, so that's the first mark for stating the type of translation. About this point here, about 0, 0, you must give the coordinates to be safe rather than saying O. And then we have to say the amount of degrees and which direction. We're going from Q to R, so we're going in this direction like this. So it's 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Question 7. Rita is going to buy some cheeseburgers for a party. She buys some packets of cheese slices and some boxes of burgers. There are 20 cheese slices in each packet and 12 burgers in each box. She buys exactly the same number of cheese slices and burgers. How many packets of cheese slices and how many boxes of burgers does she buy? Well, it's a case of finding a multiple of these two numbers that is the same. So I'm going to go up in the 20 times table, and I'm going to go up in the 12 times table and see when we get a match. Okay, so I've got a match here that there's 60 in both of them. So for cheese slices, she'd have only had to buy 3 packs, and for burgers, she'd have had to buy 5 to have the same number. Now we could use any multiple, so we could have put 6 and 10 or 9 and 15. They would have given us the same correct answer. She still would have had the same amount, just more. Okay, the second part. Rita wants to put 1 cheese slice and 1 burger into each bread roll. She wants to use all the cheese slices and all the burgers. How many bread rolls does she need? Well, she's going to need 60 in our case. Question 8. angle ABC equals angle BCA. The length of AB is 3x minus 5, the length of AC is 19 minus x, and the length of BC is 2x. We need to work out the perimeter of the triangle. So, we know that because these two angles are the same, that it is an isosceles triangle, which means that these two lines are also the same. So that means that 3x minus 5 equals 19 minus x. We now need to rearrange this equation so that we can find x. So we're going to get 4x equals 24, x equals 24 divided by 4, x equals 6. We now need to use that to be able to find the perimeter of the triangle. So if we add up all the sides, we'll have 3x minus 5 plus 19 minus x plus 2x. Substitute in that x equals 6, so that'll be 18 minus 5 plus 19 minus 6 plus 12. If we add all of those up, we should get 38. It asks us to give our answer as a number of centimetres, so I'm going to put my unit centimetres. Question 9. Julia is investigating how much exercise people do in a week. She uses these two questions in a questionnaire. Question 1. What is your age? Under 15, 15 to 25, 25 to 40, or over 40? And then question 2. How much exercise do you do? A bit, some, a lot. Okay, so we need to write down one thing that's wrong with each question. In question 1, if I was 25, I wouldn't know which box to tick. So there are overlapping boxes. You could have also said that there are no units, so you could say under 15 watts, could be under 15 days, under 15 months. So there's no units there either, so we could say no units in that one. In question 2, if I did no exercise at all, I don't have a box to tick, so there's no box for no exercise. It also doesn't say a time frame, it's just how much exercise do you do. So it needs to be more specific, it needs to give a time frame, so we could say there's no time frame as well. So there's lots of options of what was wrong with all of these questions. Okay, in part B, Julia wants to know how much time people spend exercising. We need to design a question Julia could use in her questionnaire. Okay, so let's design a question she could use. Now, there are two options. You always need to link your question to the thing that she wants to find out. So we need to talk about how much time people spend exercising. So we could say, how many times do you exercise? But we need to give a time frame, so I'm going to say per week. So that's not giving hours. Or we could do one with how many hours do you exercise per week. Now with the first question that we could use, we can't have the amount of times overlapping. So we could have a box for 0, we could have a box for 1 to 2 times, 3 to 4, and then 5 plus. They're not overlapping. But then for hours, it'd be silly to have boxes that didn't overlap, because the amount of time is continuous, so it'd be very difficult to differentiate between those times. So we can say 0 hours, 0 to 1 hours, 1 to 2 hours, or 2 hours plus. Either of those would have been fine. Question 10. The diagram shows the floor of a village hall. The caretaker needs to polish the floor. 1 tin of polish costs £19. 1 tin of polish covers 12 metres squared of floor. There's a 30% discount off the cost of the polish, and the caretaker has £130. Has he got enough money to polish the floor? Okay, so we need to firstly find how many tins of polish he's going to need. So in order to do that, we need to find the area of the village hall. So I'm going to split it into two shapes that we can find the area of. This whole length here is 16, this length here is 9, which means that this length here is going to be 7 metres. 7 times 6, 42 metres squared, and then we've got 9 times 8, which is 72 metres squared. Okay, so that means in total the area of the village hall is 114 metres squared when we add these two areas together. Okay, now we need to find how many tins of polish he's going to need. Well, we need to do 114 divided by 12. We know that 10 times 12 is 120, so 9 times 12 is 108. He's not going to have enough with 9, so he's going to need to buy 10 tins of paint, of polish. So if he buys 10 tins, that's going to cost him £190 normally, but there is a 30% discount, so we need to see if he has enough. So we need to do 30% of £190 to find out if he has enough. Well, 10% of 190 is going to be 19, so 30% is going to be 19 times 3, which is 57. 190 take away 57 is £133. So no, the caretaker does not have enough money. Question 11. Each day a company posts some small letters and some large letters. The company posts all the letters by first class post. The table shows information about the cost of sending a small letter by first class post and the cost of sending a large letter by first class post. One day the company wants to post 200 letters. The ratio of the number of small letters to the number of large letters is 3 to 2. 70% of the large letters weigh 0 to 100, the rest are 101 to 250 grams. What is the total cost of posting all the letters by first class post? Well, firstly we need to work out how many small letters and how many large letters there are. They're in the ratio 3 to 2, which means that there are 5 parts, so we're going to have to do 200 divided by 5, which is 40. 3 times 40 and 2 times 40 is our ratio, so we're going to have 120 to 80. So we've got 120 small letters and 80 large letters. We're also told that the large letters, 70% of them are going to be 0 to 100 grams, and then the other 30% are 101 to 250 grams. Well, we need to work out 70% of 80. 10% of 80 is going to be 8, so 7 times 8 is 56. So there's 56 0 to 100, which means that there are 24 101 to 250. So now we need to work out the cost of sending all of these letters. So we're going to have to do 120 times 60 pence. We're going to have to do 56 times £1, and we're also going to have to do 24 times £1.50. 120 times 60 pence is going to be 7,200 pence, which we can then write as £72. 56 times £1 is just £56, and 24 times £1.50 is going to be £36. So the total cost is going to be 72 plus 56 plus 36, and that total cost is £164. Make sure you give the units. Question 12, we're asked to draw a graph of y equals 3x plus 2 from minus 2 to 2. So when x is minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. It's a good idea to draw a table just so you don't get any of them wrong. You also get marks for doing this even if you don't draw the graph correctly. So we'll substitute in the values. When x is minus 2, y is going to be minus 4. When x is minus 1, y is going to be also minus 1. When x is 0, y is 2. When x is 1, y is 5. And when x is 2, y is 8. Okay, so we've got our coordinates for all of the points on our graph. We now need to draw in our graph, make sure we use a ruler, and make sure we label it correctly. So I'm going to draw in my x and y axes. Make sure I put an arrow on the top, label that the y axis, put an arrow on the bottom, and then also going across, an arrow on either side. Okay, so I'm just going to use one block for each increment. You could use more than one, but for the y-axis we wouldn't have enough space to do that, so that's why I'm only using one block to try and keep it all the same. So when x is minus 2, y is minus 4, so that's going to be here. When x is minus 1, y is also minus 1. When x is 0, y is 2. When x is 1, y is 5. And then when x is 2, y is 8. And we then need to draw them, connect the lines up, the coordinates up with a ruler. And that's our graph. Question 13. Hertford Juniors is a basketball team. At the end of 10 games, their mean score is 35 points. At the end of 11 games, their mean score has gone down to 33 points. How many points did they score in the 11th game? Well, in 10 games, if their mean was 35, their total would have been 10 times 35, which would have been 350 points. After 11 games, their mean score has now gone down to 33 points. So to find out their total score, we need to do 11 times 33. 10 times 33 is 330, plus another 33 is going to be 363. So that means that in the 11th game, they did 363 minus 350, which is 13 points. Question 14a asks us to write down the reciprocal of 5. Well, 5 written as a fraction is 5 over 1. The reciprocal is 1 over 5. Question B asks us to evaluate 3 to the power of minus 2. Well, 3 to the power of minus 2 is 1 over 3 squared, but we can't leave it as that because we're asked to evaluate, so we need to do 1 over 3 squared, which is 9. Question C. 9 times 10 to the power of 4 times 3 times 10 to the power of 3. So we'll multiply these two together and we'll multiply these two together, which will leave us with 27 times 10 to the power of 7. Now we're asked to give our answer in standard form. This is not in standard form, so we need to make this number 10 times smaller, which means we need to make this number 10 times bigger to keep it the same number. So it will be 2.7 times 10 to the power of 8. Question 15 asks us to solve the simultaneous equations. Well, we need to make the coefficients of one of them the same. I'm going to make the x coefficients the same. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 2, which will give me 6x plus 8y equals 10. And I'm going to multiply equation 2 by 3, which will give me 6x minus 9y equals 27, and that's equation 4. I'm going to do 3 take away 4, so 6x take away 6x is nothing, 8y minus 9y is 17y, and then 10 take away 27 is going to be minus 17. So y equals minus 17 over 17, y equals 1. I'm now going to use this in this equation here. Chose that one because there's no minuses in that one. So y is minus 1. So substitute y equals minus 1 into equation 1. So we've got 3x plus 4 times minus 1 equals 5. So 3x plus minus 4 equals 5. So that's 3x minus 4 equals 5. So 3x equals 5 plus 4. 3x equals 9. X equals 9 over 3. X equals 3. So our final answer is x equals 3. Y equals minus 1. Those are the coordinates where those two lines cross. Question 16. A company makes monsters. The company makes small monsters with a height of 20 centimeters. A small monster has a surface area of 300 centimeters squared. The company also makes large monsters with a height of 120 centimeters. A small monster and a large monster are mathematically similar. Work out the surface area of a large monster. Well, we need to work out the scale factor, the linear scale factor of the small to the large. So it goes from 20 to 120. So that is multiplied by 6. Now for area or surface area, we need to go from 300 to our new answer, but because it's area, we're going to square the scale factor. So we need to do 300 times 36. Well, I'm going to break this up into 3 times 36, and then I'm going to multiply that by 100. It's the same as multiplying by 300. So 3 times 36 is 108. Need to multiply that by 100, so it's going to be 10,800 centimeters squared. 17. AB is a line segment. A is the point with coordinates 3, 6, 7. The midpoint of AB is minus 2, 2, and 5. Find the coordinates of B. Well, the distance from 3 to minus 2 is half of the distance from the is the same distance from the midpoint to B. So the distance from 3 to minus 2 is 5. So we need to travel another 5 to get the x coordinate. So that would be minus 7. We need to do the same for the other two. So the distance from 6 to 2 is 4, and then another 4 will be minus 2. And then finally the distance from 7 to 5 is 2, and then another 2 is going to be 3. So that's our z coordinate. So it's minus 7, minus 2, and 3. Question 18. Cumulative frequency graph shows the information about the times 80 swimmers take to swim 50 meters. We're asked to use the graph to find an estimate for the median time. So there are 80 swimmers. The median is going to be right in the middle, so that's going to be 40. So we need to go along from 40 to the line. We go along from there, we go down, we'll get to 68. Moving on to the next part of the question. A swimmer has to swim 50 meters in 60 seconds or less to qualify for the swimming team. The team captain says more than 25% of swimmers have qualified for the swimming team. Is the team captain right? You must show how you got your answer. Okay, so there are 80 swimmers, and the team captain says that more than 25% have qualified. So that means that more than 20 people have qualified, because 25% of 80 is 20 swimmers. Going back to the graph, we can see how many people took to swim 50 meters in 60 seconds. It was this many. I make that as 28 swimmers. So from the graph, 28 swimmers swam 50 meters in under 60 seconds. 25% is 20 swimmers, so 28 is bigger than 20. The captain is right. And then finally for part C we need to draw a box plot. The least time taken was 28 seconds and the greatest time was 96. We need to use the frequency graph to draw the box plot. For a box plot we need the least time, we also need the greatest time, they're going to be our whiskers. We then also need the lower quartile and the upper quartile, that's going to form our box, and then we need the median, which will be the line inside. So you've got the lowest, the highest, we've also got the lower quartile, the upper quartile, and the median. We need to find all of these values in order to draw the box plot. I can put in the lowest and the highest. The lowest was 28, so that's going to be on that line there. The highest was 96, so that's going to be on that line there. We also know the median was 68, so that's going to be there. I need to work out what the lower and upper quartile were from our cumulative frequency graph. So 20 is our lower quartile. I think there it's about 53, and our upper quartile is 60, and I think there it's going to be 76. So we need to put those into our box plot. So our lower quartile is 53 and our upper quartile is 76. Draw the box in, connect up all the lines, and that's our box plot. So you get 1 mark for the two ends, you get 1 mark for the median, and you get 1 mark for the upper and lower quartile. Question 19. In a supermarket, the probability that John buys fruit is 0.7. In the same supermarket, the probability that he independently buys vegetables is 0.4. Work out the probability that John buys fruit, or buys vegetables, or buys both. Okay, so he's got fruit or no fruit, and then from there he's got vegetables or no vegetables. And the probability of those 0.4, 0.6, 0.4 and 0.6. Question asks us to work out the probability that he either buys fruit and no vegetables, or buys vegetables and no fruit. So that's going to be fruit and no veg. It's going to be no fruit or veg. And or he's going to buy both, so that's going to be that one there. So we need to work out the probability of these three. Now, an easy way to work out this is by working out this one and then doing 1 take away that answer. So 0.3 times 0.6 is going to be 0.18. 1 minus 0.18 is 0.82. That's our final answer. Question 20 asks us to solve this equation. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3x to get rid of this denominator first. So we've got 4 times 8x minus 2 equals 10 times 3x, which is going to be 30x. And they're going to multiply out that bracket, so we get 32x minus 8 equals 30x, which will then we can rearrange to 32x minus 30x equals 8, 2x equals 8, so x equals 8 over 2, x equals 4. Part B asks us to write these as a fraction in their simplest form. So we want it to be a fraction over y plus 3 times y minus 6. So we'll have 2 times y minus 6 minus y plus 3. We then need to simplify the top, so we'll get 2y minus 12 minus y plus 3 over y plus 3 y minus 6. Then collect the like terms. I've made a mistake here. This minus is multiplying that entire bracket, so this should be a minus. So we've got a minus 3 there. Okay, so now that I've corrected that, we can collect the like terms. So it's going to be 2y minus y, which is y minus 12 minus 3, it's minus 15, and that's going to be over our denominator, y plus 3, y minus 6. Question 21. Y is directly proportional to the square of x. When x is 3, y equals 36. Find the value of y when x equals 5. So we need to find k. Y equals kx squared. Substitute in the values. 36 equals k3 squared. So 9k equals 36, k equals 4. Now we're going to reuse this, but for finding the value of y. So y equals 4 times 5 squared, y equals 100. Okay, so question 22. A, B, C and D are points on the circumference of a circle, centre O. Angle AOC equals y. Find the size of ABC in terms of y. Give a reason for each stage of your working. Well, we know that this is half of this, so that's y over 2. So we can say that angle ADC equals y over 2, because the angle at the circumference is half the angle at the centre. Okay, so that's our first stage of reasoning. Then we need to find, or say, what this angle is in terms of y. Now, we know that these two angles add up to 180, so that means that this angle, ABC, the angle that we want, is going to be 180 minus y over 2. So we can write that angle ABC equals 180 minus y over 2, because opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral add to 180 degrees. Question 23. On the grid we need to enlarge the triangle by the scale factor of minus a half from the centre 0 minus 2. So that's our centre of negative enlargement. So our scale factor is a half and it's minus a half. So from the centre of enlargement up to the first point, we have to go across 2 and up 4. So I have to go across 1 and down 2. I have to do the opposite but half it. Same here for this point, we need to go across 2 but then up 6. So instead I'm going to go across left 1 and down 3. And then finally you have to go right 6 spaces and then up 5 spaces. So from here we have to go left 3 spaces and down 2.5. So those are our points. Join them up with a ruler, and that is our triangle now. Question 24. OACB is a parallelogram. OA is A and OB is B. D is the point such that AC equals CD, and the point N divides AB in the ratio 2 to 1. We need to find an expression for ON in terms of A and B. So we want to go from O to N. So we know that to go from O to N, we need to travel this distance here. That's going to be A. But then we need to also travel this direction here. Now to get from A to B, with the vectors that we've got, we'd have to go minus A plus B. So let me get rid of that. AB is minus A plus B. However, we don't want to go all of the way from A to B. We only want to go to N, so we only want to travel that distance there. Now that is 2/3 of the distance. We know that because it's in the ratio 2 to 1, so that's 2/3 and this is 1/3. So it's going to be A, that distance, plus 2/3 of minus A plus B. So if we simplify that, we'll get A plus minus 2/3 of A plus 2/3 of B. A minus 2/3 of A is 1/3 of A plus 2/3 B. That is our vector from O to N. Part B asks us to prove that OND is a straight line, so from O through N up to D is a straight line. Well, to get from O to D, we need to go A, and then that's B, and that's B. So O to D is A plus B plus B. So O to D equals A plus 2B. Now if we look at our previous answer, that O to N was 1/3 A and 2/3 B, O to D is 3 times O to N. If we multiply 1/3 A, we'd get A, and if we multiply 2/3 B, we'd get 2B. So we can prove it's a straight line by saying that OD is 3 times bigger than ON. It is a multiple of ON, so it is a straight line. Okay, so that was the November 2013 Paper 1, higher tier.